Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I thought it would be really fun. We're gonna try to keep this brief. I'm bad at brief, but we're gonna try to keep this brief, and we're gonna be ranking all the men, all of the heroes who show up in the entire Bridgerton series. I don't know why I decided to do this, mainly because maybe I love Anthony and wanted to rank all the other men against Anthony. Babe, I don't know, but I wanted to do it. I thought it would be fun, another video for us to kind of talk about how we feel about all of these men before the series drops. And some of these guys are probably not even going to be showing up in the first season, so at least we can kind of get this out of our system. We can get all the horny out right now before we get to the series and get to other levels of horniness. As always, please subscribe, thumbs up, comment below. I would love to know your thoughts on your favorite men of the series. Are you a Benedict lover? Why? But let's just get into it. If you are a Benedict lover, go ahead, let me know why you like that man. I can't figure it out. But yeah, go ahead, let me know who you love. Go ahead and rank them yourselves if you haven't read all of the books, but you know who you like the most. Please, go ahead, drop it in there. I really want to know more about the men that you love, okay? Guys, I already know that my ranking is going to be controversial, mainly because I think, this is purely subjective. This is purely how I felt on that day. This is purely how I felt about the man's lovemaking skills in the book. So do not get upset if your fave is at the bottom and your least fave is at my top. Before we really head in, just a reminder, spoilers. If you're on a video about the 8 men of this series, you are gonna get some spoilers, okay? So I'm gonna be talking about things that happen in every single one of the books. I'm gonna spoil this for you. So if you haven't read the books or you are not interested in any information about what happens in each of the books, turn this off now. But if you're still here, you want them spoilers, girl. You want to talk about the men, girl. You want to be a little horny, girl. Okay. So let's get into it. Okay, this is actually a cop-out, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be ranking Simon from The Duke and I originally was going to put him last, but I don't think that's fair. The reason for this being is I absolutely hate The Duke and I. Why do I hate The Duke and I? There's some really problematic portions of The Duke and I. Mainly, the biggest problem with the book is that Daphne rapes Simon. Daphne rapes Simon in chapter 18 of the book, and it is so violating. It is so upsetting to me. And what is even more abhorrent than the rape and the treatment of the rape in the book, which is to completely just kind of wave it away, is the fact that Julia Quinn then has Simon, the victim, say to Daphne that he is not really upset with her because she raped him. He's upset with her because after the rape, he was so upset he stuttered. And he was upset and embarrassed that Daphne saw him stutter. He wasn't upset with her because she raped him. He was upset because he stuttered after the rape. I'm so upset about this. It makes me so mad. My face wants to explode. And I cannot in any way be even slightly impartial or objective. Now, I know this list is mostly subjective to begin with, but I hate The Duke and I so much from that point on. I can't even think about the book as a whole or any positive qualities about the book, because that thing that happens in chapter 18, that rape, that violation, destroys the rest of the book for me. So we're gonna keep Simon completely off of a ranking. I don't think it's fair to him to try to even begin to rank him in a book that treats something that happens to him as a situation, as a completely nonchalant, let's just throw that away situation. And we are going to be very hopeful and excited that they're going to change all of that in the TV show, and they're going to give our boy Simon something really exciting, something new, a completely different storyline. Our number 7 pick is Benedict from An Offer from a Gentleman. There's absolutely nothing specifically wrong with Benedict. There's nothing specifically wrong with An Offer from a Gentleman. This story is actually a take on the Cinderella story. Sophie, the main character, has an evil stepmother and evil stepsisters, and she meets Benedict at a masked ball, and she loses her glove, and he spends part of the time searching for her. It's super Cinderella. But as a result, there's nothing really interesting about the story. Benedict has love at first sight when he sees her in a mask. He then kind of has another love at first sight when he meets her as a maid in someone's household. He doesn't know who she is, but he knows that he wants this woman. And for me, love at first sight stories are really tough when there's no major obstacle. So I never really get a sense of who Benedict is outside of him desperately wanting Sophie. I never get a sense of his real personality. He just kind of seems like I guess, the Prince Charming character, which Prince Charming was never interesting. Give me like Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean? I want angst. I love angst. I don't really love I'm perfect and I want to have sex with you. That is so boring to me. Additionally, Benedict does coerce Sophie to being his mistress because he's like, I can't marry you. You're a maid, but you can be my mistress because I do love you. Benedict, come on now. Come on now. So for that reason, we're going to keep him kind of low. Number 7, nothing especially wrong with Benedict, just nothing exciting about him either. Basically, from here on out, number 6 through 1 were all really, really tough picks. I actually love all of the men from here on out. I would marry each one of the men from here on out. So these rankings were just basically how I felt that day and has no bearing on like how wonderful these characters are. They are actually all amazing characters. I love them. My number 6 pick is Gareth from It's in His Kiss. This is who ends up with Hyacinth, and you guys, Gareth is just such a delightful character. He still has some of that twinkle that he obviously got from his grandmother, who's Lady Danbury in the books. He reminds me a lot of Colin. He has the same kind of charming flirtatiousness. Oof, I love him so much. And what I love about him the most is how much he loves that Hyacinth is such a busybody. Hyacinth is a complete gossip, complete busybody, never stays in her own business, and he loves that about her. I love men who love what other people would call difficult women. Very specifically with Hyacinth, a lot of the other men in town are like, oh no, she'll eat you alive because she's also incredibly intelligent. And Gareth loves that she's so smart. He loves that she's witty. He loves that she's always going to try to one-up him because that ups his game too. So yeah, I love that about them. I love them as a couple. I love Gareth on his own. The only thing that sucked about him, I guess, is that he dickmatized Hyacinth. Like before the wedding, he's like, yo, I'm going to give you this good dick so that you will never be able to leave me because you are getting married to me, girl. That's a little coercion, but Hyacinth wanted to get digmatized. So, you know, who cares? All right. So yeah, Gareth Sinclair is my number 6. My number 5 pick was actually shocking for me. It was Gregory Bridgerton from On the Way to the Wedding. This was weird for me because I read this book a while ago and I didn't like it at all. I did not like Gregory. It all kind of annoyed me. It's very also love at first sight. He reminded me a lot of Benedict. On my second read through, it became more clear to me that yes, he comes from a family of romantics. He's also a romantic, but he learns over the course of the book that it's not just about love at first sight. It's about meeting a person who makes you feel complete. It's about meeting a person who is going to be your match. And that's Lucy for him. And watching him grow, because he does. He grows over the course of the book to understand that it's not about that like first thing. It's the way they make you feel, the way you make them feel, and the way you two come together. I think that Gregory kind of gets the worst of it from all the other siblings in terms of his appearances. He's very young at the beginning of the series, so we don't see a whole lot of him other than him being a very annoying younger brother. And then we don't get to see a lot of him in other people's books. You know, he shows up at the fringe of books, he'll stand there, but he doesn't really get to be his own person. So I kind of loved watching him grow up, even over the course of one book. And I really like how much he loves Lucy. I mean, he goes to the ends of the earth, basically, for Lucy. He shows up at the wedding. He tries to break up her wedding to another man. He saves her life from her uncle. Gregory is a good guy. So yeah, I like Gregory quite a bit. It was shocking to me. And if you didn't like him through your first read through of the books, I actually highly suggest going back and reading it again and kind of comparing and contrasting that love at first sight thing that Benedict had versus kind of what ends up happening with the growth Gregory experiences in his own book. So yeah, Gregory, number 5, all the way. Okay, I'm really sorry. This one's gonna get me in trouble. I'm so sorry, guys, but my number 4 pick is Colin Bridgerton from Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This was hard. This was a really hard choice. Colin overall is probably my second favorite brother. He is funny, he is charming, he is this, I think I've said this in another video, always has a twinkle in his eye, always devil-may-care, always acting really nonchalant while loving the hell out of his family and always being there for him. He is such a wonderful brother, and I love Colin the best in almost every single book, but Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. I understand that in this book, Julia Quinn really wanted to, I think, dig deep and get to the heart of who Colin really was, which made him a little less charming. You know, he's going through his own stuff. He's trying to figure out what type of man he is. His oldest brother is a Viscount. His second brother is now a major painter whose paintings have got into actual museums. Who is Colin? He doesn't know. Penelope helps him figure out who he wants to be as a person, which is amazing. But it was a little less interesting than I kind of wanted him to be. I don't know. That has nothing to do with Colin and everything to do with my expectations of what I thought his book would be, what I thought he would be, and then kind of who he ended up being. I actually love Penelope so much in this book that it kind of overshadowed how I felt about Colin, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to only care about Colin going into this book, and it came out that the only thing I want in life is to be friends with Penelope and Kate. And yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of a little let down by Colin. So that's why he's my number 4. We still love him. We still want to see him show up in everything. So yep, Colin, sorry, love you, boo. You are my number 4. My number 3 pick is Michael. From When He Was Wicked. Guys, I have to be incredibly honest. I love an angsty man. I love a man who loves a woman and he wants nothing more than to be with this woman for the rest of his life, but there is something keeping them apart. I love the intensity of those feelings. I love the brooding over those feelings. I love just being able to read about a man who just loves this woman. I'm gonna read you this line. It's one of my favorite lines from the book. It goes, "He took one look at Francesca Bridgerton and fell so fast and so hard into love, it was a wonder he managed to remain standing." Oh, just so wonderful. And over the course of this book, there's so many lines that are just this super beautiful, angsty love, because Michael deeply loves Francesca. He loves her over the course of the entire book. And normally, of course, you know, guys, I kind of hate a love at first sight, but there's an obstacle in this book, which makes it interesting. Francesca is married to Michael's cousin, John. And John passes away. And Michael loves Francesca so deeply, but he doesn't think it's right for him to lust over his cousin's, his deceased cousin's widow. So he literally leaves the country. And then he comes back and he is fighting his attraction to this woman. He is fighting it. He is fighting it. And finally he stops and he's just like, I am going to love you. I want to marry you. I want to be with you. And he keeps showing her time after time how much he loves her. And Francesca is fighting against it because she doesn't think it's right. And then she falls for him. It is my favorite. It is so deliciously angsty. Then also, this is the book that makes me cry. There's 2 books in the series that make me cry. There's a line in this book when John's mother, John is the deceased cousin, when his mother finds out that Michael and Francesca are married, she's not upset. She's deeply happy for them. And she has this line that is so beautiful to me. Sorry, it makes me cry every time I read it. That says, "Thank you, Michael, for letting my son love her first." And it just always makes me so happy because Michael is the type of person to have been like, I love Francesca, but I love my cousin and I want them happy together. And even though it tortures me, I love seeing them both so happy. And it makes me so happy too that he gets to have the love of his life, you know, and that everyone is happy for them. And guys, sorry, this book actually deeply makes me emotional. We're gonna move on. But yes, my number 3 is Michael, okay? I adore, I love all the angst. Oh, and for other incredibly shallow reasons, Michael is also number 3 because he goes down on Francesca. Come on, Bridgerton men. They're not going down on their women. These are virgins, most of them, and y'all are not giving them that good? Y'all are not like, hey, they're not diving head first, all right? It's shocking to me. So yes, Michael gets a number 3 spot simply because, thank you, God, someone is going down on a woman in this series. Thank you. My number 2 is Sir Phillip from To Sir Phillip with Love. Again, I am very biased towards very brooding, angsty men and them finding love and learning how to love. What I love so much about Sir Phillip is he was full of love. He was a man with a fountain of love. He loves his children so much. And because he loves his children so much, he didn't want to be around his children because he was convinced he was going to be just like his father. His father beat him. His father hurt him all the time. His father was physically, emotionally abusive. And that is something Phillip is so afraid of being. And so whenever Phillip is around his children and getting upset, he doesn't know what to do with all of his emotions, so he will literally leave. So during the book, he very frequently will just kind of like not want to be around his kids because he thinks he's going to be a bad dad. He doesn't understand that by leaving his kids, he's being the bad dad. He doesn't understand that his kids are acting out because they want their father there for them. And then Eloise kind of comes in and helps heal this family. And it is just like, Phillip has never, ever been in a marriage that is full of love. Marina, his first wife, was originally engaged to his brother. Then his brother passes away and Phillip kind of inherited Marina. Marina suffers from depression. I feel like we are led to believe that after she gives birth to the children, she gets postpartum, which makes it even worse. And then eventually Marina ends up killing herself. This is incredibly tragic. It is so awful to watch this family try to kind of pick up the pieces and learn to live after her death. And Phillip doesn't even know that he wants or needs love in a relationship because he's never had it. So to watch him fall for Eloise, to watch him realize how much she means to him, and to watch him realize how much her happiness means to him, it's so beautiful, you guys. I can't help but absolutely adore Sir Phillip. So yeah, he is my number 2. Also, I love Phillip. You know why? He goes down on Eloise. He gets in there face first, eats it up. Thank you. He is actually the first man in any of these books to go down on a woman, and then Michael is the second one to go down on a woman, and then guess what? It never happens again. So thank you, Phillip. Like, he had actually never even done it before, but he was like, something's telling me there's a tasty treat down there. Thank you, Phillip. There was a tasty treat, okay? And now Eloise is one of the happiest women in the series. So yes, he's the best. He is the best. And of course, my number 1, if you could not guess, is Anthony from the Viscount Who Loved Me. There wasn't another person who could have been my number 1. It's always going to be Anthony for me. It's interesting because when I read The Duke and I didn't like Anthony. He seems so over controlling and Daphne do this and you have to do this. It isn't until you get to his book that you realize that he got to live part of his life. Then his father passes away when Anthony is 18 and he has to become the Viscount. He has to make sure that all of his siblings are taken care of. Additionally, Anthony is dealing with the trauma and pain that comes from an unexpected death of a loved one. In his own head, he believes that he will never live up to his own father, which means he's gonna die at the age of 38. I think his dad died at 38. Anthony believes that he will also die at 38 because how could he ever be as good as his dad? And it is so hard to watch him be like, okay, I'm gonna die one day, but you know what I'm gonna do before then? I'm gonna make sure that my siblings are all set up. I'm gonna make sure that my mom wants for nothing. He is so selfless. Anthony never gets to have that like carefree relationship with his siblings that they all get to have with each other because he kind of becomes the father figure for all of them. He had to. And so watching him struggle over the course of the series with how to love his siblings in a brotherly way, but also how to take care of them in a fatherly way is something that I'm just like, it is just so beautiful and wonderful. Obviously, the reason I love Anthony the most is how much he falls for Kate. Kate is supposed to be this kind of wallflower spinster. He wants to get with her sister originally, but he cannot help himself for wanting to be closer and closer to Kate. He can't help himself with wanting to kiss her when she says something witty or dry or sarcastic. As a woman who also has been kind of a wallflower spinster for most of her life before I got married, I'm always gonna love a man who chooses a wallflower. That is, again, my bias. So I just think Anthony is wonderful for so many different reasons, and a lot of it stems from his love for his family, his love for Kate, and him shouldering responsibilities that no one else in the book could. Yeah, Anthony also wins because he's got that big old... Sorry guys that this went on so long. I wanted this to be a 7-minute video. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna end up being that, but my bad. Guys, go ahead, let's get excited. We are days away from the premiere of Bridgerton on Netflix. It's gonna be on December 25th. Please comment below. I want this to basically be a fan club for us to consistently talk about Bridgerton stuff. So let's get excited. Comment below, again, your favorite Bridgerton men. Tell me your favorite Bridgerton women. I would love to know who you guys relate the most to. And then I will see you here again when I start reviewing the Bridgerton show soon. Okay? Bye.